My question is, especially in black churches, I mean, it's not just black churches. These things have happened in a lot of different churches, right? But why are people allowing their children, their teenagers, to attend these churches unsupervised? And then when things like this happen, I know you said, oh, we're not going to victim shame. I'm not victim shaming. I'm asking a question. Excuse me. Because I feel like people put a lot of trust in the word church. You know, it's supposed to be a sanctuary, but the issue with the church is that a lot of people are taking their loved ones leaving them there unsupervised. Would you leave your child? You find a lot of witches in the church. You find a lot of demonically possessed people in the church. You find a lot of sick people in the church. You find that all sorts of different people attend these churches. And even the leaderships, some of them, they may have criminal records. People look up to the church as like a sanctuary, and they forget. One thing about my parents is that if I was late home from choir practice, my father banned me from going choir practice because he was like, why are you late? Do you get me? That's a parent that cares. My dad did not allow me to just date even in the church because he knew how boys were or girls were or whoever. Do you get what I mean? Most of you are confused because you were just left in the arms of predators. And then when things happen to you, now you get church hurt. And the church should be one of the last places that people experience things like this. Do you get what I mean? Because it's supposed to be a safe haven for believers. If you can find witches in the church, I'm sure you can find pedos in the church also. Some of you allow, this is what I said, some of you allow random people to just lay their hands on your kids. And then when there's rumors that people have been impacted by demons in the church, wow. How many times were there molesters in the Catholic Church? How many stories have we heard of that? Do you get what I mean? And then this boy was only 19, and then but his story is a bit suspicious, and I'm not sorry to say that. His story is a bit suspicious. You can go to somebody and ask them for money. As a man, like, yeah. The thing is, these subjects are different when it comes to men and women. The thing is, yeah, a lot of you will go to these men of God or people of God and be asking for favors. And then when they disrespect you, when they dehumanize you and treat you in such a manner, then now, you know, you are now the victim. Why are you going to people and ask, where are your parents? Why can't you ask your parents for $200? Huh? And then when something like that happens, I'm not victim blaming. It's questions that people have to ask. Do you get what I mean? I've never felt the need to go to a stranger and ask them for money because, do you get what I mean? I'm able to, if I don't have it, I don't have it. One thing about me is that I'll never go to a stranger and beg them for money. That's begging. Why are you begging a stranger for money? And then when they give it to you in such a manner, oh, now you're the victim. The only person I've ever asked for my money is my parents. If I've asked maybe family members, and if they don't have it, they don't have it. If they don't want to give me, they don't want to give me. I will never go and ask, even in the church, to go and ask a leader for money. I've never had to do that. I've never. Why? Because now when they start inviting you to their house, asking for do this for me, do that for me, now you become their slave just for a bit of cash. Nah, bro. If they say I'm victim blaming, I don't give a heck. Don't just trust a stranger. Okay, he's a leader. And then he stuffs his whatever in your mouth. And then what if he's got herpes or something? And then he disappears. Now you have to go look for treatment for whatever has gone into your mouth. Some of you act as if you haven't got home training. Some of you act as if, your households were not in check. The simple Bible that tells you honor your parents. Why are you outside being a beggar? Why are you not content with what you have at home? And then when certain things happen to you, why couldn't you sit and pray for that $200? I remember when something almost happened to me, yeah. And I actually messaged the woman pastor in my church. But then I said, nah, let me leave it, because I don't want people looking at me any type of way, attending church or hearing my name being spread. Oh, this has happened to Sister Dawn, or this is what Sister Dawn is going through. I don't want those type of exposures. But that's also allowed me to be resilient and build boundaries so that I don't have to go through such madness. I'm not saying I'm better than some people, but certain things you just have to learn to build your boundaries so that you won't be, when now these things come online and then people start victim shaming. One thing about me is that I've been in a lot of cars with different men, yeah. And they'll ask, oh, do this for me, do that for me. And they'll, you know how men are. But knowing me, I'll never do. I will never do. And I'll make sure they park somewhere where I know there's a person that I know, so that if anything happens, I can escape. Because my safety is paramount. From a young age, there was a man trying to pick me up from college. I said no. The person knew my parents. I said, no, you're not going to pick me up, because what the fuck? Why? I'll rather take a bus and go home. I'll rather take a bus in the rain and go home in the rain. Knowing that. But I've been like that since the age of 5. I remember my mom was late. To open the gate. She had gone somewhere and she got caught up in the city. So we used to walk home from school, right? And then it started raining, so I was waiting at the gate. The neighbors came. They were like, you can come and sit in our house and wait for your mom. I refused. For ages, I refused. I was like, I'd rather wait for my mom and wait outside. They were like, no, it's raining. I think they ended up having to call my mom on her cell phone and say, your daughter's been waiting outside in the rain for you. From a young age, even if they left me with a housemaid, I would cry to the point that I would be sick until my parents get home. I remember some people, there was a family we lived with, and they're like, oh, why is your father, not allowing you to go for choir practice anymore? Just tell him you're sorry, that you love him. Me, I was happy. I was like, you know what? At least he cares, because I was late. At least he cares. I missed the choir practices. If you know LMM was lit. And it wasn't anything bad that happened. We just got stuck in McDonald's waiting for transport. And then we ended up getting home late. But it also allowed those choir leaders, like the pro dummies, they had more respect for my parents. Like, they would even come to the house and do cell meeting there. But it built that respect, that rapport. Like, huh? Oh, what's happening in your wayward churches with? Because leaders are supposed to be like your parents away from your parents. I told you people, I even went to my pastor's house. I slept over my pastor's house. Nothing happened, you know. I was helping him childmind his son while his wife was at work. You know, we were talking. He was asking me, please keep your virginity, you know, because virginity is important. While some of you are busy being molested by your while some of you are busy being molested by your leaders. But you know why it was like that? Because he met my father. And my father did not take any shit. Where are your parents when some of these things are happening? I was even 19, 20. I get where Pastor EJ is coming from because he has to tell the story. He can't really. But then as a pastor, you also have to sometimes hold certain victims accountable. Like, you get me? You need grandma? She's at work. You need money. For what?
Okay.
The thing is, I feel like certain pastors need to also hold these victims accountable. Because how are you going to build members that are strong in the faith if we just sit there and be like, oh no, and then they start suing, and then the money goes out of the church, which is supposed to help people? With counseling, sometimes as a counselor, you have to get to the root point and be like, what's your relationship like with your parents? What is going on that you have to go outside and start begging for money? The principles of the Bible did not go and... they were beggars. Yes. They were beggars. But did Jesus come and now, he'll just say, go, you'll just heal them and then... You got me. And Jesus was disrespectful. You spit in your eyes. You spit in your eyes, put mud in your eyes, and then get, why didn't they say Jesus was disrespectful? Because it's these same ladies that are now... Baby, why are you listening to my Spotify? Because it's these same women, that got themselves in these entanglements with these men of God, and then they start suing because they possibly lacked boundaries. The thing is, people will say, I'm just being rude. No, I'm just stating facts as it is. And then because they feel that they can get some money out of these men of God. I said sue. The girl came up and said, oh, suing is not going to work. Then why are you suing? Why are you suing when you knew you were in a relationship with the man? So you don't like to please your man? The thing with people liking to be victims of issues. You trusted yourself to be around the man of God. And then when these things were happening... When those things were happening to you, so now why are you suing? Because it ends up looking like you just want to take him for his money. It's making the church look like a piece of trash that when people stop attending, or because they're all church hurt, but because some of you didn't lacked boundaries. So for the years that you were traveling with this man, for the years that you were sitting in services, looking directly in his eyes, amen, hallelujah, none of those moments ever thought to you that this man is taking me for granted? Or when he got married, that's when you decided to now expose him because now you were hurt because he said he didn't choose you? And then seeing that you've had pregnancy issues before, so what if the issue was with your body and he didn't do a spiritual abortion, as you said? What if the issue was with your body and you didn't follow through with what the man of God said? I'm not defending him. I'm just saying, like, look at other sides. And then the other one, who doesn't want us to mention her name, she now ended up, going through what she went through, and then she ended up blocking him and moving on. Were you given to the man of God, or were you given to God? Then there's a new girl that just came out and said, I don't know, something about how, but at least she just, you know, she stayed in the ministry, went to Prophet EJ's. Why are you people so vulnerable to the point that you want these men to validate you? And I'm not saying that, or I'm just eating nuts. I'm not saying that these leaders are right for what they did. But then some of the victims are now acting like they're money hungry. You get what I mean? Don't do that. These peanuts are so nice. Just made chips. I just made chips and ribs. Boy, tastes so nice. Very yummy. Yummy. Because how can you come and say you don't want any of his evil money? Now then you come in and start suing. Make it make sense. Like, so why are you suing? If you didn't want any of his evil money, you'll just say, you know what, I'm just going to move on with my life. Start afresh. But now you're suing for sexual battery? You're suing? It ends up looking like after you got married, you got salty. Like you got upset. That's what it looks like. If you were hurt from what he did to you, you wouldn't be so comfortable sitting in his church, looking straight in his eyes like that, continuing to go on. Victims, because true victims do not sit there and just continue doing lovey-dovey and ting. You know, if you're a true victim, you won't sit there entertaining the gifts, because it's not even like you said no to the gifts. You willingly accepted the gifts. You willingly accepted the flights. If you were a victim, you would have said, okay, I said no I didn't want to be in his presence. I didn't want him around me, but he just kept on giving me these gifts. yet I kept on refusing him. So you're not a victim. The point, you end up looking desperate. Because now, how can this guy come and say, oh, Gigi's just a girl who just wants me, but rah, 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 rah. I'm telling you, no man can't say that about me. You get me? He ends up painting you women as desperate, like a lot of women are so, thirsty for him. And because you people allow it. You're unnecessarily boosting his ego to think that he can just get any girl like that. And the cycle continues. Wow. The thing is, the truth is a bit harsh. Like, with that whole him getting raped, does he not have a backbone to say no? I mean, because at the end of the day, maybe he doesn't want to encrypt. I mean, Prophet Lovy probably doesn't want to encrypt himself in something that he's not involved in. Do you get what I mean? So the boy needs to take it up with the police or something. If he feels that he's been molested, best place to do is go and write a statement and go to the popo. Do you get what I mean? He's Lovy law enforcement, no. I mean, as a leader, he can be like, okay, I can see that there's certain things happening in the church and we need to put a stop to it. But then that would just be letting the predator go. Can you keep quiet? I mean, if he's his spiritual father, he can just be like, write a statement and take it to the police. Because what can he do? Can he arrest the man that did it? I don't know what they do. Sue him so that take the situation further or something. And maybe that's what he should have said. Okay, he didn't report it, but he sent him a text. But if that is his spiritual father and he said, okay, why care about people who don't care about you? He can just go to his spiritual father and explain if he's embarrassed. His spiritual father has said that he went through a similar thing with a housemaid. So he should be able to trust and be like, you know what? Let me go and talk to him and see what he can do to help me. Otherwise, he might end up just holding that resentment in. You know? Because now it ends up making the whole ministry look bad. The thing is, when people get so obsessed by somebody or they're so, enticed, or they like a person so much, when that person does them wrong, they end up looking at certain things that person does as manipulation. These times, it's like, you people shouldn't be so besotted by somebody so much that when they do you dirty, now you end up seeming like, it was just manipulation, I'm being manipulated. But because you're now tying yourself, you're tying cords to that person, allowing yourselves to get hurt because you just don't have boundaries and common sense to just know. Lovy knowing is not the issue. The issue is that if you hold Lovy accountable for not necessarily protecting you, you'll end up resenting Lovy to the point that you'll hold on to the pain instead of actually going to deal with it. Instead of actually reporting what happened and getting your justice quicker. Do you get me? You end up sinking into a certain depression, is holding somebody accountable who didn't hurt you. This boy could have got his justice earlier. But then because you end up just looking at other spiritual fathers who probably don't want to encrypt themselves in certain situations. Do you get what I mean?
Aware at this point of conversation with Nick that multiple others have come to him about the same exact situation with.
Look at that. So I didn't know this. Allegedly, he was arrested for the same thing with a man in San Diego, but that man ended up being coerced into dropping the charges. Okay?
This prophet
Allegedly.
Junior, whatever his name is. So when you read this and you see Lovy answer and say, but you're not coming to church, but did I hurt you? So why are you worried about him? I'm sorry, sir. This is a breach of fiduciary.
Because as much as he's aware, as much as he's aware, how do we know that it wasn't a relationship between you two people? How do we know that maybe you didn't want it, you weren't asking for it? Because why all of a sudden are you going to ask? This man has been asking you for sexual favors. You go and ask him for money. And then when something happens, you know, the boy needs a backbone. He needs to stand on business, be firm. If he was done wrong, he needs to seek justice instead of looking at different people here and there. He can post those, he can take those screenshots to wherever he's taking this whole case and show them that, look, I've let people in the church know that this is what happened to me. And it was against my what? I mean, in a sense, he could just be saying, did I hurt you? Because obviously it's going to be evidence in court. So he has to make sure, am I the one who hurt you? Did I touch you? Was I involved? So maybe that's why he's asking, did I hurt you? So that, because now there's an exposure. People want to know, was he involved? Is he that type of person to actually do that to another, you know, to a young man? So maybe that's why he asked. Do you get what I mean? So that his part is clear. If we're to protect everybody in the church, the money will finish, because there's a lot of people that are going through things. But he did ask, okay, you can, if you know, if I haven't hurt you, you can come and talk to me. Do you get what I mean? People expect other people to come and reach out to them, but then sometimes you have to realize, for your own sanity, it's not your problem, because you might end up getting sucked into something. You know, he's an individual. He's a young adult. He should seek justice for himself. Take it up with the person that hurt him. Yes, of course, he should show evidence that this is the person running the charity, and I did tell them that this is what happened to me. You know, they did say I can come to talk to them. On his own part, why didn't he go or seek a face-to-face conversation with? Because yes, you can say he did nothing, but he messaged you. He didn't ignore the message. He messaged you and he's like, why do you care? Meaning, why are you being soft about it? Take it up, you know, do something about it. Get your justice. Because the moment if you care, you're going to be the victim. But if you stop caring, you have the balls to stand up for yourself and win your case. Do you get what I mean? Basically, I think what he's trying to say is that, why is he being soft with the whole situation? And I'm thinking the same. Why are you being soft? Why are you just, you know, dilly-dallying? Seek your justice firmly, because you were done dirty. This is the problem with victims. And this is why I'm so upset with Gigi. If you're a true victim, You would have gone to seek your justice the moment that you were done dirty. Do you get what I mean? But for this boy, he's obviously been abused. He's obviously been abused. Yes, people in the church need to be accountable. But if you see that they're not doing things, sometimes you really have to grow a pair of balls and seek your justice, because obviously he's gotten away with it. You have to be the one to say, I'm not going to allow him to get away with it, and I'm not going to be suffering be in confusion with my sexuality while I'm aware that I was raped. It wasn't my choice. And then you continue from there, because it now looks terrible for the whole church. You know, it should be a member of Revelation Nation or an ex-member of Revelation Nation is being sued for sexual battery, etc. But now you've put this man's name, and then people will think that he's the one who did it. Hey, God.
I was discussing with someone and I said, isn't it crazy that we have, other talents, we have other things we could be doing outside of running a church and preaching the gospel. And in those things, the world would embrace us and love us. But then it's almost like the enemy has partnered with some Christian. I don't think they're real Christians. I think they're fake Christians, to be quite frank. With some people inside of the church to try to discourage us from this, try to discredit the work of God in our lives.
All I can say is that some of these churches need to be careful who they hire and put as prophets and pastors, because look into their history, because they're going to tarnish your own brand. They'll tarnish your own brand even if you're not like that. And then you will come online, hey, they're mentioning my kids, hey, it's now encrypting my family. Did you make sure when you were hiring the person to minister in your congregation that he didn't have such a record? You just put anybody just because don't come and now start putting lawsuits saying, now this is affecting my family, this is affecting my kids. Now my kids see me as this and that. Make sure you hire people and you look at their record before you start embarrassing. But then to what Jack said, there are many people in the church who are flawed, who have issues. There are murderers, there are witches, there are this and there are that. The church is a There are people who have done all sorts, who get up to all sorts in their personal lives, that attend church. So we can't just say, he's running a charity, this and that. So is he going to throw everybody else out who's doing diabolical things in the church? The church might as well be empty then. Exactly. We're supposed to set an example, because I'll say it straight. As a young person, you shouldn't be going to a stranger asking for money, or you shouldn't. If we tell kids, don't go out, if a stranger gives you sweets, say no. When you are... But then we get young people in the church that are from broken homes and stuff, and it's a crack for the devil to enter and mess up a young person's mind. That's where we can say there should be adults in the church who look out for these young people's well-being. But a lot of people end up just taking advantage. But it happens a lot even in people's homes. You leave your child with a stranger, they can do anything. Like EJ said, I think that's a thing that's missing in, I won't just say America, but I feel like in this modern day where people have elders who instruct the young ones what to do, where to go, because the Bible in itself, it says teach a child in the way that they should go so that they don't depart from it. You know, a lot of us back in the day, we grew up with uncles, aunties, grandparents who, you know, they taught us the way we should go so that we won't be wayward like this. I'm not saying the boy was wayward, but maybe there was a lack of something was lacking in his life for him to fall prey to such a man. But it can happen to anybody. It's just how are you going to deal with it when it happens? Do you get me?
To raise your kids in the way of God. Because this is what wolves do to people. This. They find broken men, they find broken women, and they just prey on them. It's insane. Insane work. This is crazy.
But then the thing is, yeah, needing funds will also lead you to being prey because you end up depending on those people to help you. And then you end up in a cycle where you're waiting and waiting. And because these people will start dangling their money in your face, yeah. They'll start dangling what they have in your face just to show that they've got it and you don't. Trust me, even I've seen that even with family members who do that. And then that's why I've just said I don't need money. I don't need anybody's money because I will not have people hold me by chains just because I need something from them. Hey? And people are wicked and they will do it in your face. They'll go and buy something expensive while you're in need. Let's not be those people in 2026, please. Because if you depend on God, or if we depend on God as much as we say we do, you know, there are men of God in the Bible that served without receiving anything or without having all that. The love of God should be first. I've made up my mind. If nobody helps me, I'm okay. I'm perfect with how things are. Do you get me? Because you end up literally your body aching, frustration because people don't want to help, or people taking advantage because you ask them for help. No, I refuse to be that person. It's pure bondage. In our young age, we're busy trying to find entrepreneurial ideas to make money for ourselves instead of asking for the simple $200 dollars. Now you're prostituting your mouth for 200 and then you come now as a victim. As a 19-year-old boy, 19-year-old boys are busy looking to do apprenticeship so that they can earn their own money. Then they'll have 30,000 by the age they're 25. You're busy asking a random for $200. Are you okay? And then you'll cry and say it happened to me in church.
Jesus. And then victim shaming people coming out. It's just wild to me. Victim shame. You don't victim shame people. It's weird. And so now it's kind of weird because you look at it and you're like,
it's not necessarily victim shaming, it's asking questions. Because even in the judge court, they ask questions so that they can get to the bottom of things. How do we know that he didn't want it? How do we know that, he wasn't also luring, Every day we must feel sympathy for somebody. Sometimes you have to have brain to ask questions.
Hello.
Huh?
Yeah.
So,
Just me.
People saying Gigi is a homewrecker, yes and no. Because at the end of the day, you have to look at it. Okay, they weren't married, but she didn't ask specific questions. Like, she was just ready, falling in love, ready to carry so many babies for a man who's busy doing cloth with how many other women in the church. So of course people will say that she's this and that, that, you know. In life you have to pattern yourself and have common sense to say what will happen when people start tarnishing my name and throwing my name in dirty water. Huh? She's the one sitting there. I'm the one who's got the street banging. That's a victim? That's a victim? No. Why was there never a conversation between her and Maggie to say, excuse me, your partner is moving to me, is doing promising me this and this and this, and I'm not really interested. I just think it's a bit odd that he's moving to me. She just continued till she was approached by another woman in the church. That's when she now came out with the exposure. So I don't necessarily think she's a victim. You know? I would actually say that EJ was smart for actually distancing himself, because if certain things like that are happening, he might as well just distance himself and do his own thing. You know? Because if that man is still there while he went through that in that church, then what's he doing there? There are plenty of other churches. Or are you so into the man of God's preaching that you can't just watch him online and say, I don't want to go through all that gaslighting? You can't still be there.
I had to go to my sister's graduation. What? No, you don't go do that. What? No. That's my sister's graduation. I'm gonna go. And then they say, oh, you're not about it. You're not about us. You're not with us. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm myself. I'm my person. You know, they manipulate you financially. Again, like I said, I'll go deeper into it in another video. All of this, what I'm about to mention, this is just an overview of everything that I'll speak about. And I'm going to people who are supposed to be my counselor, who are supposed to be my mentor, who are supposed to be our marriage counselor.
The moment somebody isolates you from your peoples, the moment somebody isolates you, it's a red flag. Then you've entered a cult. But then maybe this is the issue. I don't know how he grew up in it. But the moment somebody starts isolating you and you're not able to talk to your family members, because you're serving a church. It's like that girl that just also did her exposure and she said that she was worn out, overworking herself. This is why I question, why is there service every day? Why are people over-tiring themselves just for the sake of serving? You people don't question that? Your people don't hear God then. Because what? This is why it's okay to have a private life away from these churches. Don't lay your life out on the line. It's okay to go to a church where nobody knows anything about you. So that's... because you end up, we're being manipulated, we're being isolated. Because why are you letting them know everything about you? It just doesn't make sense to me. Hey, look, can you stop? Those churches, they'll use it as a manipulation tactic. Or if you're not doing this with us, if you're not giving this much, then you're not going to tap into our grace, this and that. And I remember one pastor who tried it. I didn't pay attention because it just wasn't clicking. I just stayed quiet and continued doing what I was doing. Do you get what I mean? Or why do I want to tap into your grace? Me, I'm very observant, so I look at people's lives proper, innit? With that grace so that they can walk and have people carrying their Bibles. I can carry my own Bible, or I can live my own personal life, do whatever I want to do without people in my business. Well, don't get yourself entangled into these cults just for the sake of belonging.